Hello, and welcome to the concluding part of the Microsoft PowerPoint segment of the Mastering Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint course on Thummim NG. I'm still Kubiat Morgan, and I'll be taking you through this video. Let's quickly dive in. So we'll be exploring other types of data that we could enter into our slides. And one of those types of data would be tables. Now, you're probably already familiar with inserting tables in applications such as Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. It's basically the same thing. To insert a table in our slide for our presentation, we use the Insert tab. Clicking on the Insert tab opens up the Insert ribbon. And here we can see Table. If we click on the Add a Table button, we can see here that we have a drop down showing various cells that we can use to specify what the dimensions of our table would look like. So if we want to make a table that has 3 columns and 4 rows, we would click here where we've noticed we've highlighted the dimensions of the table that we're looking for. And if we look up at the title of this dialog box, you'll notice that the title is now reading 3 by 4 table. So we just left click on that, and then you have a table inserted carrying the default theme that your presentation is using. So we can click and drag this to move it around. So basically in PowerPoint, you can click and drag just about any element on the slide to move it around. And now all we just have to do is maybe insert some table data. And if we wanted to format this table maybe to a different design, we can, you notice that once we click on the table, automatically you're being switched to the table design tab. Now if that does not happen on your version of Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, all you just need to do is locate the table design tab and click on it. So it would open up the table design ribbon where you can select one of these design options. You could also go ahead to further customize the table by either selecting a color for the shading of the table. So you see that right now there is a few color on each column or each cell of this table. You could pick out how you want your table borders to look like. If I select no border, we notice that our table is now without borders, and you could apply certain effects. Okay, so that is how we can add a table to our presentation. Also, we could add elements such as audio or video to our presentation, and we still do that from the exact same ribbon. So we head over to the Insert ribbon. When I click on the Insert ribbon, you can locate the video button, and if I click on the video button and I select, you have options here to insert a video from your movie browser. This might be a bit different if you're on a Windows system, but this would most likely be consistent. You can insert a video from file or from the internet. So if we click to insert a video from file, I can just head through here and just select this video I created. So this is a walkthrough video, and once it's inserted, you have controls at the bottom here to play, fast forward or rewind, add subtitles, or view subtitles, or adjust the volume of your video. Okay, so now when I click play, you can see that our video is currently playing. In the same vein, we can add audio by clicking Insert, clicking on Audio, and selecting any one of these options. Either we can record our audio, we can add audio from the audio browser, or we can add audio from file. So if you select add audio from file, it would open up your Explorer or Finder if you're on a Windows or a Mac system respectively, and you can select an audio file and click on Insert. So notice this white audio looking or speaker icon that just got added. This is our audio file that has been added to our slide. So I could drag this to a corner, and we still have similar options just like we had for the video, where we can play or pause our audio and fast forward or rewind our audio, as well as adjust the volume. So we can hear that our audio is fully functional. Now, there are other things you can do to your audio or video files, and if you click on playback, you can select several configurations for your audio or video file based on your preferences. You could decide to trim your audio. Okay, now some of these options might differ with the Microsoft versions, but the very basic ones would be available, like to adjust volume, to fade in and out. Trim audio most likely would be available across multiple versions of Microsoft PowerPoint. Also, you can select how you want your audio to start playing or your video. In this case, for audio, we can select it to start in click sequence. This means that you would have to manually click on the audio file before it starts playing, or we could set it to start automatically, which means that your audio file would immediately start playing once you navigate to that particular slide. Okay, and when clicked on is similar to in click sequence. Also, you could decide to hide the audio icon during slideshow. Now, when once this is checked, the audio icon will still be visible when you're editing your slide, but it would not be visible during slideshows. This is very useful for putting, if necessary, putting certain background music without showing, or putting any indication that there is an icon that particular slide is playing music. And you could also decide to just select that the audio should play in background, which of course, once you select this, it would check all the options that would make your audio play in background. Notice that this changed to start automatically. Also, it also checked play across slides. It also selected loop until stopped, which means your music would continue to play, over and over again until your slide show or your presentation is over. I'm going to open a new slide, and on the new slide we are going to attempt to add a chart to Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, there are different ways we can add a chart. You can add a chart from this placeholder here that says Insert Chart, or you could just use the Insert ribbon. So when I click on the Insert ribbon, I locate Chart button. Now, when I click on this chart button, we would have a drop down of various types of charts like we've already explored in Microsoft Excel that we could add to our presentation. But I want to show a different way to add charts to our presentation. So, say for instance, you've already created a chart in Microsoft Excel, and you want to import that chart into Microsoft PowerPoint or into your presentation. You can simply do that by, for now, I'm just going to highlight the placeholders here and delete them all because I just want a blank slide for this part. Now I'm going to open up my Excel file that has my chart. Okay, so this is the data we used in our previous lessons for Microsoft Excel. Now notice that I've added a chart here that shows the North Central Teaching Hospitals, showing number of approved or total number of approved interns. Okay, so if I intend to use this chart in my presentation, all I would have to do is simply click on the chart and I right click on it and select copy, and I simply go to our PowerPoint slide and right click on the slide where I want to have my chart and select paste. Now in my case, due to security issues, you might get this prompt where you'll be asked to grant file access to the Excel sheet you just copied the data from. So I will just do that quickly and select the Excel file and click on grant access. Now this has granted our presentation direct access to the Microsoft Excel workbook that has the spreadsheet or that has this graph or this chart that we just copied out. What this also means is that if we ever wanted to adjust the data on this chart, so if you notice, if I expand this chart in a way, notice that I'm expanding this chart without affecting the aspect ratio. To do that, I simply clicked on the control, and before I drag, I hold down shift on my keyboard. Now what that is going to do is going to constrain the aspect ratio of whatever you're trying to resize so that you do not squish or squash it. After resizing my chart, I'm going to just move it to the center so we can observe a few things. Now if you look at my chart, you'll notice that University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital currently has 180 total interns. Okay, say I were to change this data from my Excel sheet. So I head over to my Excel sheet and I try to adjust this value from, I try to adjust the dental value to 260, which would affect the total value. Now the total value becomes 380. The chart here has automatically updated to indicate University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital as having total of 380 interns. When I head back to Microsoft PowerPoint, you would notice that our chart in Microsoft PowerPoint has also been updated to indicate that University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital has 380 interns. So this is very useful for synchronizing a single chart data across Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint.